Hi, I'm Alicia and welcome to my channel Papercraft Secrets. Today I'm sharing a kit and a video tutorial for a set of 4 cards, a gift box and a layout featuring Mintay's Forever Young collection. So this kit will enable you to make 4 happy birthday cards. And on the birthday cards we have beautiful Prima flowers, some gorgeous wooden sentiments. It will also allow you to create a gift box to store your 4 cards in, and you can give those away as a gift. And there is a double layout included in this kit as well. So there's 2 pages of scrapbook layout and they can be put together as a double, featuring again the Prima flowers, some crinkly ribbon and lace, and the beautiful Forever Young collection by Mintay. The kit is available on my website at www.papercraftsecrets.com.au and I will post it directly to your address. Let's take a look at what is in the kit. So this is the Mintay Forever Young papers and it's a 12 by 12 scrapbooking paper set. So you'll get this as part of your kit, 2 copies of each page in here, and it's a lovely thick paper, 240 GSM. So that is what we will be using to create our projects. There will also be there is also 2 12 by 12 pieces of white cardstock, and this is Kaisercraft white cardstock in smooth. So that will be for the base of our cards. And we are using my favorite beautiful Prima flowers. I absolutely love these. And these go beautifully with the colors in the Forever Young collection of papers. We're also going to be using Bloomer laser cut chipboard, which I adore, and we have 4 happy birthday sentiments in there. Then we have our beautiful yellow ribbon, which you can crinkle up or leave as is, and some of our dangly lace. So this is the contents of the kit, plus you will receive a handout with photographs of each project and a link to the video tutorial. Let's get started now with our class. So here we have our Mintay Forever Young papers, and it's a beautiful collection by Mintay. If we turn over the front cover, we can see all of the fussy cutting elements, and we need to cut all of those out. So I've already cut my elements out, and we've got this little Ferris wheel, and we have this beautiful wreath here, floral wreath, and a carousel there, and a happy birthday sentiment, an ice cream van, a floral cluster, another small floral cluster. We have these little circular things, a present, some bunting, cupcake, some more floral clusters, a cake, some love hearts, some birthday hats, and some star balloons. And there's a few little bits and pieces there. And there's a few there that I haven't worried about cutting out because I don't often use those little candies or tassels. So I've cut all of those out, and I'm just going to pop them into this bowl here just to keep them all safe. And I'll pop those aside for now. So that's the first job, is to fussy cut out those elements on the back of the front cover. And let's have a quick look at these papers. We've got a beautiful Ferris wheel and a sea green page. We've got this gorgeous page and then a pink. We've got this fancy page and then a yellow. We've got this patterned page, and then on the back we've got rainbow, and then we've got our numbers, and on the back we have rainbow stripes. And then we come to our number 6 paper, which, there's the number 6. It has all of these squares on it, or rectangles, and when you go to the bottom of your pack you'll find that you have another number 6 with these frames on the back. So we're going to be doing some fussy cutting of the frames and the elements. So to start with, just use your paper trimmer, and we're going to trim all of these little Polaroid frames down following the lines on the paper. And that'll give you 12 of those little frames. Then we are repeating the process of cutting out the other sheet, following the lines on the paper, and that'll give you 12 images. Now take your yellow ribbon and wet it under some water and scrunch it all up, and then bring it back and allow it to dry. We'll be using our crinkle ribbon a little later in our class. Now we're going to fussy cut around each one of those frames, and we will fussy cut around each one of these images. Now we have all of our images cut out, and they're all looking really lovely. And we've got our frames cut out, so we're going to pop them aside in our bowl for a bit later. Now we're going to take our paper trimmer and our white cardstock. We've got 2 pieces of white cardstock in the kit. Make sure you turn the barcode side up so you can see it. I'm going to cut at 6 inches and 6 inches. And we're going to do that again on our second piece, 6 inches and 6 inches. And this will be the base for our cards. We will fold each one of our cards in half. You can just use a bone folder to make a nice fold. Folding each card in half, and the last card, there we go. I'm making 4 cards. You could choose whether you want to open yours up or to the side. I'm going to choose opening my card up. We are taking the number 3 paper, and we will be cutting our number 3 paper to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. There's our first 5 3/4 cut. We're going to take that barcode off and move it around and cut at 5 3/4. Then we're going to cut at 5 3/4 again and again. 5 3/4 and 5 3/4. So we will have 4 squares from our number 3 paper. The next paper we're using is the number 2 paper, and we're going to repeat that same process, cutting at 5 3/4, 5 3/4, 5 3/4. We're going to cut that barcode strip off, measure 5 3/4, and measure 5 3/4 again and again. And now we have the base papers ready for our cards. I'm going to be using the busier page on the front and the more blank page on the inside of each of the cards. We are going to use some liquid glue to adhere our papers to the base of our cards. I'm popping the busy side on the front of the card and then the more plainer side on the inside of the card, and that way we can write our message on our card on that plainer paper. Very good, that's one done. Time to do our next card now. Putting glue on the back, gluing that down onto our base card. It's a good idea to check that your card is going to open the way you want it to open, because sometimes we find that our card is opening the wrong way. So just keep that in mind, that you're checking that your cards are opening the right way as you're gluing everything down. So again, we're moving on to the next card, gluing that busy paper on the front cover and the less busy paper on the inside. And these papers are so pretty. They do a lot of the work for us in this card making class. There we go. So that's all 4 cards all ready to go now. So we're moving on to our next step for our cards. This is where we are creating layers on the top of our cards. We're going to use our fussy cut frames and our fussy cut images to create the layers that will go on the top of the cards. This is what it will look like. These will be our layers. I created these before the class so that you can sort of see what we are attempting to achieve here. So it's a 3-part layer for each of the cards. And I'll show you exactly how we're going to create these. So let's start with this first one here. You can see that we have the rainbow one in the middle and a greeny one on the side, on the right hand side, and then a yellow one on the left hand side. So you can see how I'm making this shape where the left hand side one touches the top of the rainbow centered rectangle and the green one touches the bottom of the rainbow rectangle in the middle. So that's what we start with. We start with 3 frames, and it doesn't really matter what color you use. You can use any color, you can use any picture. I'm using the cake with the bunting, so I'm just going to find that here. There it is. And I'm using the love heart and the present. So they're the 2 fussy cut images that I'm using. The cake with the bunting is going to go on there. I'm just going to trim off that little tiny bit of bunting because I don't need that little bit. I'm going to position it so that the bunting is right on the edge of the Polaroid frame. I'm just going to use a little bit of recycled cardboard to elevate my little cake, and then I'm going to stick that to that yellow horizontal rectangle right on the edge. Okay, that's looking perfect. Then on this one, I'm going to use some more cardboard, put a little bit in the middle, and I'm going to stick this love heart on the greeny bluey one right on the edge. Okay, that's good. Now, the next step is we're going to glue it all together. So we've got a bit of a chunky layer. So what I did was I added some more recycled cardboard in the middle so that it would stand up nicely. But what we need to do is we need to make sure that we're going to fit it to the width of our card. So this is the important part. You want it to be going from the white edge to the white edge of your card, and you want to position it so that it's sort of in the center, but a little bit at the top. So I'm just putting glue on the back there, and that will go right on the edge. Now, I did make a mistake and I didn't bring that right to the white edge. You could choose. I actually decide to change it to bring it right to the very edge of the card as opposed to the edge of the designer paper. And I'm positioning it so the top rectangles match and the bottom rectangles match. This is where I just move it out a little bit so that it's right on the edge of the card. And I'll bring that out. Just get a bit more glue, I think. Okay, now I use this middle rectangle to measure it because that is how low I want it. I don't want it any lower than that middle rectangle, so that's why I use that as a measurement. So they're both in their position now. Then I get a bit of recycled cardboard and I'm going to put some cardboard in the middle so that my middle rectangle's got something to sit up on. I'll just pop that there in the middle. And then my rectangle, and I get the wrong rectangle here. I should have got the rainbow one, but it doesn't matter. You can do any colored rectangle. Don't stress over the colors. I think actually the aqua blue looks really quite nice. And so there we go. We put that in the middle, and that is the same as that. And that's our layer. So it's a 3-part layer. Now when you're adhering your layers, I want you to keep in mind that we are having our cluster of embellishments in this bottom corner. We're going to have a flower, a ribbon, and some lace in that bottom corner. So don't bring your layers down too far to the base of the card so that you have no room for your floral cluster. Alright, so let's move on to our next one now. Rainbow in the middle, yellow on the left, and pink on the right. Though, remember, you can use any color. A cake on one side and the balloon, fairy floss balloon on the other side. There's my cake, and there's my fairy floss balloon. So some recycled cardboard on the back of the cake and on the back of the balloon. Popping that on the edge of that yellow rectangle. Putting the balloon on the edge of the rectangle. Grab your card so that you can measure where it needs to go. gluing that top one down first and the bottom one down second, and putting the middle rectangle in the middle so you know how far to put it down, because you don't want it popping out underneath. Bit of glue on everything and then the middle rectangle in the middle. Beautiful. Let's move on to our next card. This one, rainbow stripes, pink on one side, rainbow on the other. Happy birthday and balloon cluster. Some recycled cardboard on the back of happy birthday and putting it to the edge. And doing the same with the balloon cluster. Find the card that you're going to put it on, measure where it will need to go, and the bottom one needs to go no further down than the middle rectangle. Little bit of recycled cardboard in the middle. Some glue everywhere for our top rectangle. Make sure everything is straight. You can see I missed bringing that right to the edge again. I'm just bringing that out and then popping the rectangle on top. That's number 3 done. Last one. Not that one. This one. Okay, yellow in the middle, and I'm going to do the rainbows on the side. We've got the cupcake and we've got the balloon wreath. Putting the cupcake on and then adding the balloon wreath on. Bringing in our card, positioning it where we need it to go. And then just checking that it's in the right spot, hidden underneath that middle rectangle. A little bit of support in the middle there, and then glue that rectangle on like that. Well done. That was quite tricky, so if you got through that, you've done really well. Moving on to our next step now, the placement of our middle images. I'm using 2 of the carousels, 1 merry-go-round and 1, I said ice cream cart, but I think it's probably more of a lolly cart. That would have been the better term. So I'm putting some cardboard on the back of these images to pop them up. We're going to have a beautiful Prima flower on our cards, and we've got a beautiful chipboard sentiment. So let's attach all of our images in the middle, on top of our middle rectangle. There we go, and we're going to turn that over and pop that on top. Now, we have 4 of our flowers, we have some lace, we have our ribbon. My ribbon's still a bit wet, I'm just going to quickly pop it in the dryer to give it a little dry. I have allowed about 40 centimeters per bow. So if you cut your ribbon to 40 centimeters. That will be perfect. You'll have enough bows for the 4 cards and the layout. So 40 centimeters cut, 40 centimeters cut, and that will give you enough ribbon. So we've also got some lace. If you cut your lace to about 4 little hangy down bits, that's about all you need. So count along 4 and then do your cut. And that'll give you some nice little dangly lace pieces. So we've got a lace piece for each card, we've got a flower for each card, we've got a birthday sentiment for each card. I like to use this tacky glue to glue on my sentiments. I just paint a little bit on the back of the word and then I stick it onto the picture. You will have 4 happy birthday sentiments in your kit. 3 of them will be of 3 different designs, and then 1 will be a repeat. So you'll get 2 of one design and then another 2 that are different designs. Everyone's will be slightly random. Some are split into 2 words, the happy and the birthday, and others are joined. The happy and the birthday are joined and are just the one piece of chipboard. So we're just gluing those onto the center of the picture, slightly to the right hand side, because we've got our flower cluster on the other side. I've got my ribbon out of the dryer and it's all dry now, so I'm just going to tie it into a bow. You don't have to make your ribbon crinkly. If you prefer a straight ribbon, then please just keep your ribbon straight. You don't have to crinkle it up. I'm going to make 1 bow for each of our cards. Going to glue that down now. So some glue for our lace, some glue for our ribbon, and some glue for our flower. Then we just repeat the process for all of the 4 cards. Lace, then our ribbon, then our flower. And this completes our cards. Now I wanted to encourage you to keep going on these cards. If you have some sparkly glitter, some kindy glitz, some diamantes, you might like to add those things to your cards to give them a little bit more sparkle. If you wanted to ink your sentiment or color your sentiment or add kindy glitz to your sentiment, you could do that as well, just to sort of just add a little bit more sparkle to each of the cards. So I've kept mine very plain. Raid your craft stash at home and see how you could just enhance the cards just a little bit with a little bit of diamantes or some gemstones or a little bit of sparkle or glitter or something to just finish them off. I think that would look really pretty, but these cards are beautiful and they are perfect for birthdays. We will be actually making a card box to store them in case you'd like to give these cards away as a gift to somebody. Maybe you've got enough birthday cards already in your stash, and how nice it would be to gift 4 birthday cards to somebody. So these are our completed cards, and we're going to move on now to create our gift box. We are going to move on now to create our box. You will need these 2 pieces of paper. They've both got that rainbow swirl through them, and the little sort of specks of glitter and stars. We're going to cut one piece for the lid, 10 3/4 by 10 3/4. So let's line that up now and cut at 10 3/4. There it is. And we're going to turn that around and we're going to cut that again at 10 3/4. And that square will become our lid. Now we're going to do the bottom of the box. The bottom is 10 1/2 by 10 1/2. So we line that up at 10 1/2 and do our cut, turn it around, line it up at 10 1/2 and do our cut. So we have our lid and we have our bottom part of the box. Now we're going to score using our scoring board. The lid we are scoring at 2 inches and 8 3/4. The bottom we're scoring at 2 inches and 8 1/2. This is the 10 1/2 one. This is the bottom. So we're going to score at 2 and 8 1/2. Score at 2 and 8 1/2 for the bottom. The lid, this is the 3/4 one, so we're scoring at 2 and 8 3/4. And then we turn and score at 2 and 8 3/4. Then we fold on all of the lines for our box. And this one, and you could use your bone folder if you wanted to create a really smooth fold. Now we're going to cut on the score line down to where it meets the other score line. And then we make a small triangle. We do the same on this side, cut down that score line and then a small triangle. This creates a tab. Cut down on that line, create a small triangle, cut down on that line and create a small triangle. We're going to repeat that process. Find our scoring line, cut down on the line, and then make a little triangle. So the triangle is on the tab part. We just need a little bit of breathing space so that when we fold the corners we can get some nice neat corners. There we go. Now we're going to assemble our box. So fold all your little tab bits in and put some glue on those bits. I need to buy some more glue. I need more glue. Alright, so a little bit of glue on that tab and on that tab. A little bit of glue on that tab and this tab here. So all of the 4 tabs have glue on it, and now we're just going to put the sides of the box together. So easy. And then we repeat that with the other part, whether it be the lid or the bottom. And you can choose to have the papers on your box either way you want. If you wanted that pattern paper on the outside, you just flip it over and fold it the other way. I chose to have the rainbow paper on the outside. There we go. And the lid goes over the top of the box. And then inside our box we can store our beautiful cards that we have made. I'll just pop them in now. You might like to alternate the way they sit just because of the flower, but they all fit in that box perfectly. And you might like to decorate the lid of your box. I had a look at some things. I think I decided to go with the carousel and the happy birthday flags or bunting. And so you can just glue that onto your box. And that will complete our box. I mean, you could add more flowers, more glitter, more ribbon to your box if you wanted to make it really, really special. You could tie it up with a big ribbon. But there you have a beautiful gift box with 4 beautiful birthday cards inside. The next part of this tutorial is a double layout. So we're going to move on to our next project. And this is a double layout with 4 photographs, and there's a possibility to change the size of the photographs. The photographs here are 4 by 4 inches, but they could be modified to 4 by 6 inches if that was preferred. So let's get started on the last section of our class together. Moving on to our layout now. Taking these 2 different papers, we have the number 1 paper, which is the sea green one, and we have this rainbow paper, which is number 5. Let's remove the barcodes on both of those papers first. Now we're going to do a little bit of paper tearing with our rainbow page. So just tearing carefully across there so that we're going to get that rainbow teared look. We're going to use our other teal page to create a double layout if you want to. So we're going to tear another section of paper and tear that along the top. Then we're just getting our glue and we'll stick that down at the top of both of those pages. Then we add some glue to the other side. And we stick that to the top of that page. That's the first step for our layout. Our next step is to take our photos. I am just using white cardstock for my photos, and I've cut these to 4 by 4. If you wanted to use 4 by 6, you could. In this layout, it is flexible. You could either use a square 4 by 4 photograph, or you could use a 4x6 rectangular landscape photograph. I'm going to do some backing paper for my 4 photographs, and I'm going to do this at 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 inches. I'm going to choose the number 2 paper for my backing paper, and it's going to be the pink side, and I'm going to use the darker pink from the paper as much as I can. So take your paper trimmer, and we're needing to cut 4 4 1/4 inch squares from this paper. So 4 1/4, 4 1/4, 4 1/4. And you can see how I'm going for the darker pink on the page because I like that more vibrant color rather than the pastel-y pink. So I'm going to put some glue on the back of my photos and glue those to my pink backing papers. This is not the design that we create today, but I just wanted to show you this as an option. 2 flowers in the middle, and then these lovely floral clusters around the flowers. We could cut this one in half and we could stick that there and there, and there's a layout just like that. If you wanted to create a really simple layout, there's an option. That's just a single 4 squared page layout with the floral cluster in the middle. Not what we're creating today, but still very pretty, still an option for your scrapbooking. You could repeat that design with different papers that you have in your stash if you wanted to. We're going to take it up a notch. We're going to reach for our number 3 page that we have one left in our kit, and we're going to do some fussy cutting. This is a little bit trickier, but I know you can do it. It's just cutting out the images at the bottom of the page and the images at the top of the page. And we're going to do that all in one big cut so that we've got one long bottom image and one long top image. You may like to watch something on TV or on YouTube while you cut out your image. Okay, it's going to take you a little while. Just take your time and go slowly around all of the images. I got to this point and I just actually cut that top bit off so that I could maneuver the paper better without that extra large bit hanging over me. Right down to this bottom section now, I'm nearly finished. And I'm just cutting around that last little bit, and then I'm going to cut the barcode bit off. And you can see what I've got so far. I'm cutting that little bit of bunting out. I end up deciding to take off that happy birthday at the top and just have the carousel. And so this is where it's going to sit. It's going to sit at the bottom of our layout here. It's going to look really, really pretty to have that at the bottom of our layout. We'll have our 2 photos and we'll have our floral cluster there in the middle. So let's glue this section down now that we've cut it all out so beautifully. I found a bit more that I missed, I think. I've just found a bit more of that I forgot to do before. There we go. All done now. So popping that down, and that's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful graphics in this collection of papers. Now we're turning that page over so that we're going to have the rainbow teared strip at the bottom, and the fussy cut part that we're cutting now is going to go at the top. So we'll have the opposite effect happening. The rainbow strip at the bottom on the left hand side and the top on the right hand side, the fussy cutting strip on the top on the left hand side and at the bottom on the right hand side. And this is just for a double layout. If you wanted to create single layouts, that would be fine too. You could do it either way. So I'm just cutting my fussy cutting out, and this took quite a bit of time to get in and around all of the bunting, and there's a lot to cut out on this section, and I kept seeing more and more that I needed to cut. You can cut as little or as much as you like. This is your layout and you do what suits you. I decided to cut away this yellow bit here and to create more bunting. And then I ended up going in and cutting out the middle section that was hiding underneath there. And that was quite tricky getting in and amongst all of that little bits in there, so you may or may not want to do that part. But I think it looks nice when it's cut out. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to glue that down now that we're happy with it. And put it in that top corner. Beautiful. Stunning, isn't it? Stunning graphics. Stunning designs. Now that little carousel might like to go down the bottom there perhaps to fill in that bottom corner. We've got our photos sort of on a diagonal. We've got our photos both doing the same thing, so that's just a little bit of uniformity between the two layouts. Okay, and let's glue the photos down on this page. You can see that there is room for a 4x6 horizontal photo. If you wanted to do a 4x6, you could fit it in. Just getting it straight is a little bit of a challenge, and probably I would suggest using a ruler. I didn't, and I ended up realizing mine were a little bit crooked and adjusting them later. We're going to have our two leftover flowers in the middle, and we're going to use our floral clusters. So we're going to put one there and one there at the top. We've got the one that we cut in the half. We're going to put one hanging down there and one hanging down there. Perfect. Let's glue that in. There's that one facing up in the corner and this one facing down. And on this side we're doing the same thing. That one faces up and that one faces down. And our beautiful teal coloured flowers are going to sit in the middle of our layout, If you haven't put your photos in yet like me, don't glue the flower bits onto the white card. You can simply slip a photo underneath those little leaves when you're ready to add your photos in. I've actually got some photos in mind for this layout, and I thought I might print them in black and white so that they match the colours a little bit better, because these papers are pretty girly and I've got boy birthday papers that I'm going to, photographs that I'm going to use. We might swap that for the Ferris wheel instead of the carousel as an option. Let's glue that down. For this top corner here, I wanted to use this beautiful floral wreath. It's so beautiful. It needs to be in a fairly prominent position on the layout. So I'm going to add some glue to that section of the wreath that's going to be attached to my page, and then I'm going to cut the rest off. So I'm going to save half of that wreath for another spot on my layout. So just trim that down. So I'm just cutting it carefully because I'm going to use that other end of it, so I'm just conscious of that when I'm cutting it. Let's make sure it's all glued down nicely. There we go, that's looking nice. We're making progress on this layout. Just going to trim that a little bit more so it's nice and straight. Now I thought it would be nice to add in a ribbon and a bow, similar to how, some lace and a ribbon, similar to how we did with our cards, to just add a little bit more to that floral cluster, just to give it a little bit more decoration. So I'm just going to pop in that four little dangly bits of lace and my ribbon that's tied into a bow. And just the same on this side, adding in the lace and then adding in my yellow crinkly ribbon. I've just swapped glues because I was sick of trying to squeeze that glue out. So there goes my ribbon. And now I'm just ready to decorate a little bit. There's a few little blank spaces on my layout, and I've got some die cuts left that I've cut out that I'd like to use. So I'm going to use the candy cart or the lolly cart, and I'm going to pop that down here. But see how I only put the glue on the side that's going to touch the paper, because I'm going to slide my photo in after. I don't want any glue attaching to my white cardstock where my photo will be. On this side here, I'm going to do a little cluster of a cake and the blue circly thing and the party hat, really getting into the spirit of the birthday theme on this layout, because this is going to be, for me, a birthday layout. So it's going to have photos of cake and photos of balloon. So just popping that on there. Let's put our little circle bit down first, and then our cake, and then our little party hat at the end. Very good. This little section here, we might like to use this unicorn cake or cupcake. And again, we're going to glue it to the base layout, not the photo. And a love heart balloon and a party hat. So let's glue on our balloon love heart balloon and our party hat. And then let's glue on our unicorn cupcake. That fills in that little bit there. On this side, I thought I might use the other half of the wreath to decorate that little bit there. It's a little present. We could put that little present somewhere. I decided to put my little birthday present down here next to the unicorn cupcake. That's very cute. I've got these beautiful yellow love hearts that I might pop here. Actually, I might just put them up on a bit of cardboard so that they stand out a little bit more. Just pop them in there, sort of on a diagonal. And you can add as much or as little embellishments that you would like to your layout. There's lots of little bits and pieces that we did cut out and a few little pieces that we didn't cut out that you can add in to decorate. I wanted to just fix up this one here. Just trimming it down a little bit. I'm going to sort of put it around the corner, I think. So a little bit of cardboard there and a little bit down on that yellow flower. And then position that around the corner of that square. And maybe that little blue circle thing going in there as well. We've got this little star balloon that I'm going to add here to create a little bit of layering, and another star balloon. In there. And another one up there. So it's just adding another layer to that cluster of embellishments. And I think our layout is pretty much finished now. It's looking so beautiful. Perfect for your birthday party photos. Here's a bit of a close-up of our floral cluster there and our layered cluster. Our wrapped around flowers. Our unicorn cake cluster. That's looking beautiful. And then this page, got our lolly cart and our floral cluster, love hearts and our frame up the top there and our cake, and everything is looking colourful and beautiful. And well done to you for creating this double layout with me. And that is the conclusion of our tutorial and our class today. We have created a beautiful double scrapbook layout. We have created a set of 4 cards and a coordinating gift box that can be given as a gift to somebody or kept for yourself. So it has been a joy to create with you today. I hope you enjoyed the class. Remember, the kit can be purchased from my website at www.papercraftsecrets.com.au. If you haven't already subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a lovely crafty day.